across the road.
You know, I don't know if it's as much.
And I stayed conversating the whole time, right? I guess to protect their people always. It's a beautiful part of the cemetery back here.
And those are pretty much the charity.
See that?
Right, yeah, well, if you look. Welcome to ParaCrypt Exploring. Today we take a deeper look into one of Alabama's oldest and most quietly mysterious graveyards, Liberty Cemetery in Oneonta. What lies beneath its cracked stones and fading names tells more than just the story of the people buried there. It whispers secrets of a powerful and ancient fraternity, Freemasonry, and the mark it left on this quiet southern hillside.
Okay. Hey guys, so today we're at a cemetery in Oneonta, Alabama. This is Liberty Cemetery. It's the oldest cemetery here. And originally it was founded by the Cornelius family. And they had a small church here, and now it's a modern day church.
Liberty Cemetery was established around 1837 and stands as one of the oldest burial grounds in Blount County, Alabama. Originally linked to a Methodist congregation known as Carolina, named after settlers from the Carolinas, this cemetery became the resting place for pioneers, soldiers, and founding families. What many people don't realize is that cemeteries like Liberty are not just places of rest, they're archives. And when you start decoding the symbols and names, a pattern emerges. That pattern? Freemasonry. Right.
Pretty out here.
It is.
But this is the Hudson and the Marshalls. And I have it on they were founded.
Freemasonry, a global fraternal organization with roots in medieval stone guilds, took stronghold in the South during the 1800s. Lodges were often the first structured institutions in towns, even before the formal government.
That's a Vietnam veteran right there. And I'm thinking we're in toward the oldest part of the cemetery out here.
Yeah, the stones are getting a lot older as you get back here.
It's just the way the wear and tear on them is. That you can tell that. When we get away from the road a little bit, I'll open up the ghost box. But for now, let's just look at the interesting grave.
Yeah, it's like you can't go anywhere now and get away from people.
No. And I'm trying to drown out the traffic a little bit so we can hear when they start talking to us. And see, look at these tombstones are just interesting, guys. The older you get, the more monolith and like tall, magnificent tombstones there are.
Have you ever wondered why Masonic graves are often so elaborate, so symbolic? Freemasons believed that life, death, and the afterlife were part of a grand spiritual journey. Their monuments weren't just headstones. They were final testaments to the values like morality, faith, and fraternity. The symbols etched in stone were both personal and universal, honoring the journey of the departed. Many of the men buried here were leaders, judges, blacksmiths, veterans, pastors. Their families and sometimes their lodges invested in monuments that reflected their standings and contribution to society. To them, these stones were not just memorials, they were sacred markers of purpose and principle. Freemasonry teaches that every life leaves a legacy, and in places like Liberty Cemetery, that legacy is carved in stone, in symbols, and maybe in spirit. See, but it's like that tombstone there. I would be like inclined to try and put that up and fix it, but just as soon as I touch it, it's going to fall over. And
a lot of these are very brittle, so I have to be careful how I touch them. Even when I'm wiping stuff off with my fingers, I'm barely touching the thing. Mrs. Mary Snow, Marshall. This is a beautiful part of the cemetery back here. Okay, I'm going to open up the, which one do you want me to start with?
Whatever one you would like to.
That's how fine it is. It happens. All right. My name is Jennifer.
My name is Jay.
And we come in peace, guys. All we want to do is talk to you, maybe learn your history. We come in full respect. And I'm going to turn this on. Sorry, guys. That's how fine it is. It happens. All right. My name is Jennifer.
My name is Jay.
Ford. Yeah, okay.
A lot of Masons down here.
I was going to look at some of these tombstones after we get done interviewing. Okay. Which way do you want me to keep going? Straight?
When using the Necrophonic app during a paranormal investigation, it's important to understand both its potential and its limitations. One of the primary challenges with this app is that it often is difficult to interpret. The audio output consists of chopped up phonetic sounds, reverse speech, and snippets of words from a sound bank, none of which contain full sentences or pre-programmed messages. This randomness is intentional, designed to allow spirits, if present, to manipulate the available sounds to form meaningful responses. However, this also opens the door to subjectivity. What one investigator hears might be entirely different from what another perceives, even when listening to the exact same playback. Our brains are naturally wired for pattern recognition, a psychological phenomenon called pareidolia, which can cause us to hear familiar words or phrases in chaotic noise, especially when we're expecting and hoping to hear something specific. Additionally, environmental factors like background noise, the emotional state of the investigators, and the context of the questions being asked can influence interpretation. When someone asks a question and thinks they hear a relevant answer, confirmation bias can also come into play, reinforcing the belief in responses even if the sound is ambiguous. While the Necrophonic app can certainly be a compelling tool during investigation, especially when responses seem relevant or timely, it's important to approach its use with critical ear. For the most credible results, responses should be consistent, context-specific, and ideally verifiable without that much of what's being heard to remain open for that personal interpretation. This makes it fascinating but not always conclusive.
You'll have to tell me when to stop, okay? Do you want me to go back here toward the woods? Did he say yes?
I heard of someone, there was a yeah in there.
I need the man to talk to me. Okay, do you want me, is it right here behind me? Is it behind me?
To the outsider, secrecy can seem suspicious, even sinister. But within Freemasonry, secrecy served a deeper, more symbolic purpose. For centuries, Freemasons operated behind closed doors, bound by oaths and traditions that guarded their lives, their teachings, rituals, and symbols. But this wasn't just about keeping others out, it was about preserving the sacred. Freemasonry teaches that truth is revealed through personal discovery, not just blind instruction. The secrecy wasn't to hide information, but to ensure that knowledge was earned, step by step, lesson by lesson, degree by degree. In eras where religion and political powers often punish independent thought, Masonic secrecy also offered protection. Lodges became safe havens where men could discuss philosophy, morality, and science, and even revolution without fear of persecution. And then there's the Brotherhood. The secrecy formed a bond, a trust. When a Mason swore to keep a secret, he wasn't just promising silence. He was pledging loyalty to an idea larger than himself. So when you see these cryptic symbols on graves, we wonder what rites were whispered among the stones. We're not just looking at mystery. We're looking at a tradition built on honor, growth, and the belief that some truths are too profound to be spoken aloud.
Okay, your last name is Pope. What's your first name?
It's not Polk.
Not Pope. Where are you from here? Oh. I'm gonna show you something.
Yeah, I was noticing that alongside with the Mason on the other side.
That's why I pointed it out, because it's weird that it's like that.
For centuries, Freemasonry was exclusively male domain. But on guild traditions where only men work as stonecutters, builders, and architects, women by custom and decree were barred from the lodge. But that didn't stop them from finding a path to the craft. In the late 1800s brought change. In France in 1893, a lodge called Les Detroit Humains initiated both men and women, becoming the first co-Masonic organization. In the United States, a similar shift emerged with the formation of the Order of the Eastern Star, a Masonic affiliated body created specifically for women and male Mason family members. While traditional Masonic symbols like the square and compass remain central, women's organizations introduced new symbols of grace, virtue, and spiritual guidance. The five-pointed star, each point representing a biblical heroine, became a signature of the Eastern Star. Colors and floral imagery were also added, symbolizing purity, wisdom, and loyalty. These symbols were less about tools of building and more about pillars of character, a mirror in many ways to the Masonic tools, just through a different lens. Even today, mainstream Masons in many jurisdictions remain male, but the feminine current has always flowered beside it. So when you walk through cemeteries like Liberty and see that five-pointed star carved into marble or an open Bible with a delicate bloom, just know you're not seeing decoration. You're seeing a parallel legacy hidden in plain sight.
That's the one I was like, are you Oscar Murray? Yes. I hear you. Yes, very. So it says you were 74. You lived here? Why did you have a wife? Okay, did you have children? How did you pass away?
In the early days of American expansion, long before skyscrapers and suburbs, towns were carved out of wilderness, rough, raw, and uncertain. But if you look closely at the founding records of many of those towns, one name keeps appearing: Freemasonry. Freemasons were more than stoneworkers or philosophers. They were builders in the truest sense. Many early settlers who formed the backbone of new communities were Masons. Judges, blacksmiths, pastors, doctors, educators. They brought structure where there was none, and not just in bricks and mortar. Before a town had a courthouse or even a church, there was often a lodge, a place where men gathered, not just to perform ritual, but to organize, to plan roads, schools, charity, leadership. The Masonic Lodge became a nucleus, both literal and symbolic, around which the town could grow. Even the way they laid out cities was influenced by Masonic geometry. Order, alignment, proportion. Their reverence for the great architect of the universe wasn't just metaphor. They saw themselves as partners in building a moral and civil society from the ground up. And when you see towns like Oneonta, Bluntsville, and Gadsden, places near Liberty Cemetery, you'll find the fingerprints of Freemasonry woven into their histories. Charter members of lodges became mayors, postmasters, and school founders. Freemasons didn't just help build American towns, they helped shape the values that held them together.
Okay, so what is your first name?
Yeah, W.H. Delaney.
So is this a Delaney I'm talking to?
Sort of.
I'm looking for the woman. I know I'm one. Oh my gosh. Guys, you don't have to give me a hard time. Okay, is the lady I'm talking to, are you to the left or right of this?
Left.
Look right there. See what that says. That's a daughter. What's your first name? What's your first name? What's your last name? What's your first name?
These men weren't just Masons. They were educators, judges, veterans, and preachers. Their work and values shaped the moral compass of early Alabama settlements. Their graves at Liberty are marked not just by stone, but by their symbols. The square and compass, the all-seeing eye, and the pillars of Solomon. These aren't just decorations, they're a legacy. Let's look at a few key individuals whose stones tell a deeper story. First, there's William Franklin, also known as Uncle Frank. He was a Confederate veteran that passed in 1928. His funeral drew the entire community, and his stone bears Masonic markings, a sign of his standing. Then there's Reverend John Simmons. Believed to be among early lodge leaders, grave feathers, twin pillars, and the letter G symbolizing God and geometry. Oops. And then there's Reverend John Simmons. Believed to be among early lodge leaders, his grave features twin pillars and the letter G symbolizing God and geometry. And also worth mentioning is Thomas W. Redding, a local blacksmith and lodge treasurer. The tools that are etched on his stone are the square, plumb line, and trowel. Each symbol tells us not just what they did, but who they were. Freemasonry was about building physically, yes, but also morally and spiritually. The most common Masonic symbol is the square and compass, often with the letter G in the center. It represents guidance, the great architect of the universe, and moral uprightness. But there's more. We've seen headstones with the beehive, representing industry, the sun, moon, and stars, which represents enlightenment, and the broken column, which is a life cut short. See, it's a coded language of honor, legacy, and mystery, right out in the open. We've investigated Liberty Cemetery before. While we didn't expect strong activity, we were surprised.
I heard us talking about the Masons.
Yes.
It says you were a Mason right here. What is your first name? Or what did they call you? William. Yeah, okay.
All right, yeah.
All right, so we're here. Now, it's very interesting to me that you came forth seeing how we're talking about the Mason signs. We don't mean any disrespect. I'm curious. So how long were you a Mason?
What degree Mason were you?
What degree Mason were you? Did he say 5 or? What degree Mason were you? Third.
Third, okay.
Okay.
All right, so you were in a local chapter here.
Yes. And it says, oh, you were one of the founder members. It was a Cornelius. I was talking about this family, guys. I was talking about your family being founding members here of the community and the church. So, were the Masons a part of the founding? Did the Masons help found the community? Because I noticed there's a lot of Mason signs. A lot. Okay. Well, I'm glad that you led me here. Can you tell me anything about the Masons now that you passed that you couldn't tell when you were alive? Can you tell me anything? Did the Masons delve in anything that would be considered dark?
Did the Masons deal in sorcery or witchcraft?
Did. So,
Bring it.
so all of the founding fathers and things that were Masons,
I heard good. But maybe it's like anything else, you know, it started off good and then there was a branch that kind of went a little rogue.
so is there anything that you want to say now from the grave that you felt like you should have said when you were alive? Were the people that founded it were the Cornelius family, were all the men in the Masons? No. Were the founding members of this community in the Masons? They did?
Yeah.
Okay, well, rest in peace, guys. We're going to stop asking any more questions about the Masons. But
We can't say with certainty that there's a connection. We can't say with certainty that there's a connection between Masonic burials and paranormal activity, but the symbolism, the reverence, it creates an energy, a change. Are these spirits protecting secrets or simply watching over their sacred ground? Liberty Cemetery is more than an old graveyard. It's a monument to builders of different kind.
they have some very interesting tombstones and gravestones. And it seems like the Masons founded a lot of this community. From what I understand, if I'm not getting that wrong,
That's really what it looks like.
that the Masons had a large part.
They either had a lot to do with the founding or a lot of them found this a nice area to settle.
Right. Just like the Mormons settled in that community.
Right.
Up here on this mountain, it's secluded, and back then there was no one, so I could see how this would be attractive to them, right? I thought these were interesting. Just the way that they're styled. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I saw those when we come around the other side.
I just love the way that some of these are made. It's quiet, guys. I've been asked a lot about why graveyards, why my obsession. One is history. Two, it's quiet. No people out here. No one's to bother you.
Just the traffic sounds.
It's the living humans that cause grief. It ain't these guys. These guys don't bother me. And they're just living history. It's very quiet out here. It's just like a park. Why would it creep you out? They can't bother you. It's all in the perspective. But most of the time, it's just like a bee or something else. You don't bother them, they don't bother you.
Here, we'll walk down through this way and work our way
All right.
to the other side.
Interesting, huh?
That's what I was looking at.
This has a huge Mason symbol on it. see that?
Right, yeah, well, if you look to your left, first thing that catches your eye on that one's a Mason sign.
Whether you believe in ghosts or not, there's no denying the power of legacy. And here, that legacy is etched in stone, hidden in symbols, and maybe still whispering in the wind. If you've ever visited Liberty Cemetery and noticed something strange, or know more about its Masonic past, drop a comment. We'd love to hear your stories. And if you enjoy these deep dives, hit that like button and subscribe for more paranormal history right here on ParaCrypt Exploring.